Hello friends, now it's time to move to the functionalist theories of religion, and in this lecture, this is our lecture number 10, and in the previous lectures we have already studied the intellectual and emotional psychological theories of religion. Now we will study the functionalist theories of religion and its criticism. Now in these theories we will separately prepare separate lecture for the functionalist theories, because they are very important as far as your exam point of view is concerned. So in this functionalist theory we will study the Durkheim's theory of religion. We will also study the Talcott-Parsons theory of religion, plus Malinowski, Bronislaw-Malinowski theory of religion, plus Guy Swanson theory of religion. So most important theories are Durkheim's theory, that is already in your IAS syllabus, chapter 4. So definitely we need to study this theory. Talcott-Parsons is not in your syllabus, but definitely you should know about Talcott-Parsons theory of religion in detail also. Plus Malinowski theory of religion we will also study in detail. Guy Swanson's theory, you should know about this theory, because that is modern theory of religion by Guy Swanson. Basically you don't found this theory of religion in any of your standard textbook, because that is rather a very contemporary and modern theory of religion as compared to the Durkheim's, Parsons and Malinowski theory of religion. And that is not Swanson theory is not that much important also from your exam point of view. But if the question comes in your exam that you should write about the functionalist theory of religion, then you can write one paragraph about Guy Swanson's theory of religion also. So now first we will study the Durkheim's theory of religion. Now this Durkheim's theory of religion, we have dedicated one entire lecture to Durkheim's theory of religion. And why we have dedicated one entire lecture? Because that is very important from your exam point of view. You should know each and every bits and bytes of this theory of religion, including the criticism of this theory, plus the contemporary relevance of the Durkheim's theory of religion also. So now we will start the Durkheim's theory of religion, and in this theory of religion you should understand that why this Durkheim's theory of religion is called as functionalist theory of religion. Now before I will start reading the slides and explaining you the slides, you should understand that Durkheim is a functionalist. So each and every theories of Durkheim, they definitely have the functionalist impact on it, and that is why Durkheim says that the religion is existing in society because it has some functional consequences for the society. So because of those functional consequences of society, this religion is existing, and that is why it is very important to exist in society. So you should understand that Durkheim always talk about the functional consequences of the religion, or whatever functional concept he studies. He always talks about the functional consequences of that concept. According to Durkheim, religion is not a psychological or intellectual phenomena. Instead, why religion? Because religion is existing since time immemorial. So why it is existing since time immemorial? It should have some functional consequences for society. That is why it is existing since ancient times in the society. Therefore he says that religion is not supernatural or divine creation. It is not a supernatural phenomena or a divine creation. It is actually the creation of society. It is the society which invites awe and reverence from its members for the religion. So he says that it is the society which is actually the responsible entity which actually want that there should be a social fact which should be existing, which draws the inspiration, the reverence and awe from its members. And why it is existing? Because it has the functional consequences. So society wants an entity or a social fact which integrates or which develops, which is required for its integration and cohesion. So that is why religion is existing, and religion is existing because society has developed this religion. Because it is the society which is the origin of this religion. So it is society which invites awe and reverence from its members for the religion. And why society developed religion? Because for social cohesion, for so that the members are integrated in the society, for social control, and to impart meaning and purpose to life. So these are the three different reasons that why religion is existing in the society. Okay, so you understand, you should note this point, that religion is existing in the society because society wants that there should be a entity present in society which is required for social cohesion, for social control, and to impart meaning and purpose to life. That is why society has developed religion for these functions. Now, it is important to understand that how, if that is understood, that society has developed religion for these functions. Now, how religion is able to achieve these functions, that you should understand. It is able to achieve this function by the categorization of sacred and profane. You must understand this point, that Durkheim says that religion only exists in the distinction between sacred and profane. The sacred realm is considered extraordinary and inspired wonder and awe for it. So it is the sacred realm which drew awe and reverence from its members. So when the categorization is done of different things in society, categorization is of sacred and profane is done in the society, then only religion comes into picture. So आप इसको इस तरीके से भी समझ सकते हैं कि आप एक फॉर एग्जांपल आप ले लीजिए कि एक स्टोन है. अब एक स्टोन, देयर इज नो यूटिलिटी ऑफ स्टोन एज सच, but when this stone is situated in a temple or in a church or anywhere, which has some significance for individuals. So when this stone is being you can say is being imparted the symbol of that god or of that sacred entity, then only religion comes into picture. Because religion is nothing, you already know the definition of religion as per the Durkheim. Religion is nothing but the beliefs and practices that unite into a single moral community called church. Okay, so what Durkheim says that about religion, that religion is the unified system of beliefs and practices that you can say that are forbidden and set apart. Okay, beliefs and practices unite into a single moral community called church, all those who adhere to it. तो इसका मतलब ये है कि you should understand that those beliefs and practices, those which are related to the worship of the sacred entity or sacred realm is nothing but religion. So religion is the beliefs and practices that are related to a thing which are set apart, related to things that are set apart and forbidden, beliefs and practices that unite into a single moral community called church, all those who adhere to it. Okay, so once the categorization of things are done between in the society in the form of sacred and profane, then only religion is comes into picture, is able to achieve this. So religion is able to achieve these functions by the categorization of sacred and profane. Now the sacred, you should understand, the sacred and profane are to be kept apart, but since just 1 minute. So the sacred and profane are to kept apart, but since sacred has to be worshipped, therefore religious rites are used to please the sacred. So that means he separate he has categorized the religion into he has categorized the society into two realms, that is sacred and profane. So some things are sacred and rest of the things in the society are profane. Now sacred are those things which are should be kept apart and forbidden from the profane. Now you should understand that Durkheim says that the sacred has to be worshipped by the profane people. So basically sacred and profane are in opposition to each other. For example, he says that when you go to a temple or a church, you should take out your you should understand by this that you should take out your shoes before entering the temple. Then these shoes are considered to be profane, and the temple is considered to be sacred. So this sacred has to be kept apart and forbidden from the profane. So now because you already understood that they are to be kept apart, they should not be intermixed. But since sacred has to be worshipped, therefore religious, so he says that sacred has to be worshipped because it imparts this worshipping the sacred, it is nothing, it imparts the power of the members to feel that there is something a strong power which is existing, who is controlling those individuals. So he says that because people are worshipping the sacred, therefore religion, now how worshipping is done? Through religious rites. They are used to please the sacred. When people assemble to perform the religious rites, that in fact confirms the group solidarity and enhance the sharing of collective sentiment. So whenever the people assemble to perform religious rites, that in fact confirms the group solidarity and enhance the sharing of collective sentiments, because when they collect to worship the sacred, this in fact, so when they collect together, this actually integrates them into the larger society and enhance the sharing of collective sentiments. Religious rituals allow individuals to escape from the mundane aspects of daily life into higher realms of experience and imparts meaning and purpose to people's life. So these rituals, they allow individuals to escape from the mundane aspects of daily life. So from their daily mundane life, religious rituals, they separate those profane people from their daily life and connects them with the higher realms of experience. So connects them with that sacred thing, and in turn imparts meaning and purpose to people's life. Thus, according to him, society through religion ensures social solidarity and reinforce collective conscience. So it is through the this religion that the collective conscience is reinforced. How it is reinforced? Because all people have the same attitude of awe and reverence towards the sacred entity which is called religion. So all people have the same awe and reverence towards that entity. So this entity thus possesses the more power as compared to the profane people. Now whatever meanings and values this entity defines for the individuals, all individuals starts to follow those individuals, and thus the collective conscience means all people follow the same conscience, which in turn becomes the collective conscience. So so when they actually worship the sacred, the social solidarity is actually strengthened and the collective conscience is reinforced. According to Durkheim, collective religious worship confirms the awesome power of society because it is society which has developed religion for its integration. So Durkheim says that collective religious worship confirms the awesome power of society because when they collectively worship the sacred thing, so it actually confirms the power of society because it is the society which has developed the sacred thing or the religion for its integration. Durkheim also said that since society possesses the ultimate power, reinforcing the collective conscience, imposing the moral values, controlling the individuals, because society has possesses the ultimate power of reinforcing the conscience, imposing the moral values, controlling the individual. Therefore, it is society only which is revered by the people in the name of worshipping religion. So he says that because society actually possesses the ultimate power, society cannot do it by on its own. So it has developed the religion for doing the same thing. So that means he says that it is actually this. It is not the people are worshipping the religion or the sacred. It is the worshipping. Actually, people are worshipping the society because society has developed the religion. So it is the more stronger and super. You can say the powerful entity which is worshipped by the people because it is society only which is revered by the people in the name of worshipping religion. So have you understood the theory of religion of Durkheim? So thus he says that in the name of worshipping religion, people are worshipping the society. Okay. Now you should understand that how Durkheim has come to this conclusion that people are worshipping the society when they are worshipping the religion. So what he has done, he has studied the primitive society of the Arunta tribe. They are aboriginal tribe. They are found in the Australia. So Durkheim has studied the religion of Australian aborigines named Arunta tribes, whose religion is named totemism. So what he does, according to Durkheim, first attempt should be, so he attempts to study society, the religion in its most simpler form. Why? Because modern religion is complex, so establishing causal linkage is difficult. So establishing the functions and the linkages between different actions are difficult. So that is why he had studied the simpler religion. So to get the essence of religion in society, its basic and simpler form has to be studied. After understanding the religion in its most elementary form, religion of modern advanced society can then be studied. So after understanding the religion in its most elementary form, religion of modern advanced society can then be studied. So he says that once the essence of religion in its simpler form is studied, then we can proceed to study the modern advanced religion. His theory of religion, I have already said that is called theory of totemism because he had studied the religion of Australian aborigines named Arunta tribes, whose religion is called totemism. Now what he has studied in this the Arunta tribes, he has said that he has observed that aborigine society is divided into various clans. Each clan, now he says that he has observed that each clan हैज इट्स ओन टोटेम. आप समझ लीजिए कि उसको कई क्लैंस में डिवाइड किया है सोसाइटी को और हर क्लैन का अपना टोटेम है और हर टोटेम का अपना एम्बलम या सिंबल है. टोटेम का एक सिंबल है. सो व्हाट सिंबल क्या होता है? जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल यू कैन अंडरस्टैंड दैट टोटेम हो सकता है जैसे कोई एक ईगल है, ईगल हॉक, या आप समझ सकते हैं कोई एनिमल है या कोई रॉक है या कोई प्लांट है, एनीथिंग. सो टोटेम में बी एनी एनिमल, प्लांट और स्टोन, इट कैन बी एनीथिंग. सो उसका एक सिंबल होगा. सही है, एक सिंबल उन्होंने बनाया है. सिंबल कुछ नहीं होगा, एक उन्होंने एक स्टोन में कार्व आउट करके एक कुछ स्कल्पचर बनाया होगा, दैट इज अ टोटम, दैट कैन बी अ टोटम. और एक पेंटिंग कुछ की होगी तो दैट कैन बी अ टोटम. सो उसका एक फ्लैग और एक सिंबल है बाय विच दैट टोटम इज आइडेंटिफाइड. सो इट इज अ साइन बाय विच ईच क्लैन distinguishes itself from all others. Anything which bears the emblem of totem is considered sacred in the clan, and rest the entire clan is considered profane. तो इसका मतलब ये है कि उस टोटेम से उस टोटेम जो उन्होंने टोटेम है उसको एक सिंबल दिया है, एक एम्बलम दिया है, एम्बलम इज नथिंग बट सिंबल, उसको एक सिंबल दिया है, और जो भी चीजें उस टोटेम से एसोसिएटेड हैं दे आर कंसिडर्ड सेक्रेड, और रेस्ट जो भी रेस्ट ऑफ द थिंग्स है दे आर कंसिडर्ड एज प्रोफेन विच आर इन अपोजिशन टू दी सेक्रेड. सो यही, और ये भी दुर्खीम बोलते हैं कि ये टोटेम जो है, ये जो क्लैंस हैं दे आर एक्चुअली एक्सोगेमस इन नेचर. सो वो अपनी so they cannot marry in its own tribe, in its own clan, so they marry someone outside from their own clan. So उस टोटेम से वो रिकॉग्नाइज करते हैं, और जिस किसी क्लैन का कोई टोटेम दूसरा है तो उसी टोटेम से वो मैरी कर सकते हैं. फॉर एग्जाम्पल ही सेज दैट, फॉर एग्जाम्पल टोटेम ए है और टोटेम बी है, तो टोटेम ए मेंबर्स कैन नॉट मैरी द मैन ऑफ टोटेम ए, कैन नॉट मैरी द वुमेन ऑफ टोटेम ए. सो द मैन ऑफ टोटेम ए can marry only women of totem B, and similarly vice versa the man of totem B can marry only women of totem A. Okay, तो एक exogamous है ये clans, और ये एक दूसरे को रिकॉग्नाइज करते हैं उस टोटेम से. सो टोटेम से ही वो अपना एक जो पूरी क्लैन है वो टोटेम से अपनी पूरी वो देखती है, मतलब आप कह सकते हैं the blood relative, they consider themselves as blood relatives, and they see that all people belong to that totem are considered as blood relatives. तो उससे ही अपनी ancestorship देखते हैं कि वो उनके the totem is their ancestor, and all people they have originated from that ancestor, so they have common ancestor which is considered as totem. Okay. So what he says that totem is considered sacred. Why it is considered sacred? Because the totem is linked to the origin of, because totem को बोलते हैं कि वो clan से ही, clan उनका और totem से originate हुआ है, and all the members are of the clan, they are originated from that totem only. So that is why it is considered sacred. Since totem, now he says that since totem is both the symbol of God and the society, therefore in worshipping the totem, the members of the clan they are in fact worshipping the society, and thus individuals are reminded that society is more important than individuals, and in this way individuals are reminded that society is more important than individual. The reason why humankind needs a totem to worship rather than just literally worshipping society, so you should understand this point, that why they need a totem to worship. They can directly worship the society, or they can worship the clan. So because the clan is too complex a thing for people to conceptualize, religious symbols are just simpler entities to worship. This logic also explains idol worship in many religions like Hinduism. जैसे हमारे हिंदुइज्म में आइडल वर्शिप हम करते हैं, जैसे विष्णु जी की होती है प्रतिमा आइडल होती है, या शिवा की होती है, तो ये आइडल्स ये इसलिए होते हैं बिकॉज इट इज सिंपलर टू आइडेंटिफाई देमसेल्फ विद अ डीटी इन ए सिंपलर फॉर्म. कि एक आइडल हम बनाते हैं उसको सिंपलर फॉर्म में उनको आइडेंटिफाई करना और वर्शिप करना इज कंपैरेटिवली सिंपलर एज कंपेयर टू स्टडी दी रिलीजन कॉल्ड हिंदुइज्म. तो हम आइडल्स को वर्शिप हैं. सिमिलरली ही सेज दैट पीपल यूज टू वर्शिप टोटेम instead of worshipping the society because totem is considered simpler to worship. Okay, now so Durkheim says that the attitude of reverence and respect which are expressed through religious beliefs and rituals towards the sacred objects are in fact an indirect expressions of reverence for the society. I have already explained. The worship of society strengthens the beliefs, values and moral beliefs. So when they worship the society, it strengthens the values and moral beliefs which form the basis of social life. So by defining them as sacred, religion provides them with greater power to direct human action. So in turn, this religion, so people they impart greater power to religion and in turn society to control themselves. In worshipping society, men are in fact recognizing the importance of the social group and their dependence on it. So man is actually dependent on the society, and in turn they are recognizing the importance of the group because it is the group which is accumulating collectively worshipping the sacred. So in this way religion strengthens the unity of the group. It promotes the social solidarity. Religion, as Durkheim saw and explained it, is not only a social creation. So religion is not only a social creation, it is in fact society divinized. The society is, so it is society which is actually worshipped. So society in the divine form. So he considers society in the divine form. Society divinized is religion. So because religion is a social creation, therefore according to Durkheim, disappearance of religion in modern society does not lead to dissolution of society. So he says that because society is something which has developed the religion, so if even if this religion disappeared in modern society, the society never got dissolved. So he says that, but he also says that in the primitive society, men recognize their dependence on society through religious representations. However, in the modern society, this institutional religion lost its importance. Therefore, modern man has to recognize his dependence on society directly. We must discover the rational substitute for these religious notions in the modern society. So he says that because institutional religion has lost or is got diminished in the modern society, so there should be something which actually replace the institutional religion in the modern society. So there should be something, the rational substitute should be there, which actually substitute the religion in the modern society. So in the next slide we will study what are those rational substitute in the modern society which actually performs the same function which is performed by the religion. So before moving towards the change form of religion in modern society, we first understand the functions of religion as detailed by Durkheim. So he says that the functions of religion are social cohesion. You have already understood social cohesion means integration of people. Social control, so religion controls also the individuals. As you can give the example that various religions they give the moral, they impart the moral values of do's and don'ts to the individuals, and people follow the those values and those things, and strictly do the things and do not, and strictly forbid the things which are don'ts. So religion also reinforce the collective conscience that I have already explained, that the collective conscience means the moral values and beliefs are collectively enforced in the society. Euphoric, so religion function is euphoric, that means it removes the frustration and sorrow from the minds of people. How? Imparting the meaning and purpose of life to individual, and it gives sense of purpose and meaning to people's life. So in this way, these are the functions of religion which are explained by Durkheim. So you should write, you can write these the functions of religion in your exam. Sacred morality, the sphere of, he says that sacred morality is being replaced by the secular morality. So what is the sacred morality में क्या होता था? Religion आपका जो institutional religion है, that acts as the source for the common morality. But in the modern society, the secular morality, which is the welfare for humanity and the respect for rights for all, is the new secular morality in modern society, and which actually integrates and provides the social cohesion in. So he says that the requirement of integration would be met by civil religion in modern society. So the objects, people and events associated with secular aspects of life are granted an elevated sacred status. So now he says that in modern society, people enter the world of sacred by experiencing it through sports events, hosting of national flag or respecting the national symbols, patriotism by playing national anthem, humanitarian work in disasters, etc. So he says that I have already explained that the new realm of sacred is the secular morality, which is being provided by the welfare for humanity. He also says that people enter the world of sacred in the modern society by experiencing not through the religious rituals, but by experiencing it through sports events, by hoisting of national flag or respecting the national symbols, patriotism by playing national anthem, humanitarian work in disasters, etc. Plus, you should also note that he also says that this religion definitely is still alive in the private sphere of individuals, that they still consider sanskaras, shraddh ceremonies, baptism as sacred and follow religion in private sphere. Because one take out shoes before entering temples, doctor praying to God before conducting major operations. So it still says that religion is still there existing in the modern society, but that is existing in the private sphere. Now in the modern society, instead of the integration done by the this sacred religion, instead it is done by the secular morality. And what how the secular morality is provided by experience, people how they comes to experience the secular morality, experiencing it through sports event, hoisting of national flag, or respecting the symbols of the national, for example constitution, patriotism by playing national anthem, or the tenet of patriotism, the humanitarian work when you do humanitarian work in disasters, etc. For example, you can quote the contemporary example of the corona warriors also, that these corona through these corona warriors all people feel integrated with the corona warriors, that they are doing the humanitarian work, welfare of humanity, and thus people feel integrated in the society for the corona warriors. So they also consider nationalism or service to nation as sacred. Many people consider their profession as sacred and work for the service of others. For example, you can say corona warriors, scientists, bureaucrats. So thus these things actually used to function function as the agent of social integration in society. So you can quote these examples in your exam, in your answer. Now you should understand the criticism of the Durkheim theory of religion. Now so Durkheim theory of religion you can criticize by understanding this point. He says that he doesn't say you can write that in the contemporary Asian societies his theory provides only partial explanation. In Asian societies with modernization, religion is not vanishing from the societal domain as claimed by Durkheim. Instead, it is reviving in the form of religious fundamentalism and revivalism reflected in the proliferation of new sects and cults. It is also acquiring, so you can see that it is still reviving in the form of religious fundamentalism and revivalism and the proliferation of new sects and cults. It is also acquiring roles in identity politics and ideology of protest. You can write that example of Islamic fundamentalism. You can quote Islamic fundamentalism. You already know that this terrorism. You can quote the terrorism in the name of Islam as spread by the terrorists in the Jammu and Kashmir. Dalit movement led by B.R. Ambedkar as an ideology of protest. So how religion is used as an ideology of protest? Dalit movement made use of Buddhist ideology of egalitarianism to protest against social inequalities of caste system. So this caste system is being opposed by the Buddhism, by the Dalits, and they made use of this this Buddhist ideology of egalitarianism. Thus, you can see that as claimed by Durkheim, that religion will lost its importance in the societal domain, but we are seeing the various examples of religion being revived in the form of fundamentalism and the proliferation of new sects and cults. One criticism you can write of William Edward Stanner. He says that the dichotomy of sacred and profane is not absolute. A third category he has not written, which is the mundane. Those activities which are neither religious nor anti-religious but are a-religious. So those activities which are a-religious which are neutral to religion. So he has not mentioned about those activities. So you can always write that there are many things in the world which are neither in favor of religion, not in opposition to religion, but those actions or those things which are a-religious. So he has missed mentioning about the third category. You can also write the critic of criticism of Radcliffe Brown. He says that Durkheim did not explain why a particular totem is chosen. Even a tribe may have more than one totem. In his study of New South Wales, now Radcliffe Brown has studied the New South Wales. Brown has discovered that there can be multiple totems within a tribe. So he has seen that within a tribe also there are multiple totems. Also, Brown sees totemism as more than a technique of maintaining group solidarity and also a way in which social opposition, that there can be multiple totems also within a tribe. Also, Brown sees totemism as more than a technique of maintaining group solidarity. So he says that totemism is more than a technique of maintaining group solidarity. It is also a way in which social opposition and alliance between groups is expressed, i.e. structure of relationship. So he says that totemism it is also a way in which social opposition and alliance between groups is expressed. So you should understand the theory of Brown. He says that कि एक टोटेमिज्म में डिफरेंट सो ही सेज दैट कि टोटेमिज्म में डिफरेंट ट्राइब्स हैं, तो हर ट्राइब की जरूरी नहीं है एक ही टोटेम हो, मल्टीपल टोटेम भी हो सकते हैं. तो उसने एक एग्जांपल भी दिया है, जैसे एक ट्राइब का बता रहा है कि वन ट्राइब इज डिवाइडेड इनटू टू मोइटीज. सो दो मोइटीज के दो डिफरेंट टोटेम्स हैं. सो एक का फॉर एग्जांपल वो कह रहा है टोटेम है क्रो एंड अनदर ट्राइब्स टोटेम इज ईगल हॉक. सो ही सेज दैट कि जो दीज टू मोइटीज दे आर ऑलवेज इन अपोजिशन टू ईच अदर, कि वो अपोजिशन में रहते हैं बिकॉज ईगल हॉक एंड यू नो दिस क्रो वो इसलिए ही टोटेम है उनका, बिकॉज ये आपस में माने जाते हैं ईगल हॉक एंड क्रो, दे आर सीन एज कंपिटिटर्स बिकॉज दे आर बोथ आर मीट ईटिंग एनिमल्स. So they are seen as competitors. So both these moieties are considered as competitors with each other. So they used to compete with each other. Plus वो ये भी कह रहा है कि इन दो moieties में ही ऐसा होता है कि जो moiety A और moiety B है, तो जो person of a male of moiety A वो moiety B की woman के साथ मैरिज करता है, और सिमिलरली मैन ऑफ moiety B marry the woman of moiety A. तो इसी तरीके से वो कहता है कि अलायंस भी आपस में ये करते हैं और compete भी करते हैं. Thus he says that totemism is not only a way of maintaining the social solidarity, but is also a way of maintaining the alliance and opposition or competition between different groups. So in this way he has criticized Durkheim. Edmund Leach says that sacred and profane are two extremes. All social actions fall in between. So he says that both are two extremes, but all the social actions they fall in between both the social actions. Hamilton criticism you can write. Durkheim theory of religion is not applicable to modern society because modern society has different beliefs, different ethnic groups, different institutions, different cultures. So members do not share common beliefs in this type of society and value system. So therefore it is not applicable to modern society. R.K. Mutton you can write. R.K. Mutton says that in multi-ethnic, multi-religious society, religion could have certain disintegrative aspects too. Such a dysfunctional aspect of religion is never mentioned by Durkheim. In multi-religious societies, religious differences may lead to social conflict. So you can write the conflict between the Shia and Sunni. You can write the conflict between quote the example of Shia and Sunni, and within a religion also, and within different religion you can write the conflict between Hindus and Muslims in India, and due to that partition also occurs. Okay. Karl Marx we will study in detail, but you can write you can understand that Karl Marx says that religion is a part of superstructure. So why it is a part of superstructure, that we will understand in the theory of religion. So he says that it is being reproduced by the economic system. So religion, because it is being reproduced by the exploitative economic system, therefore it is also, so it what it does, it reinforces that exploitative economic system. So it not only reflects but also reinforces the ruling class ideology. Thus, religion provides justification of inequalities on wealth and power in the society. So you can write the criticism of Karl Marx plus Malinowski criticism. You can also write. He says that the Durkheim's theory is an armchair theory, as he did not visit the Arunta tribe even once. Also, his theory is extreme social realism because he has not talked about the functional consequences of religion at individual level. Malinowski identifies specific areas of social life with which religion is concerned, i.e. situations of emotional stress. So he says that कि religion, जैसे दुर्कीम ने बोला था कि religion is the functional for the entire society, but Malinowski says that it is not functional for the entire society, but it is only functional for the individual, and plus also it is functional only for certain situations, like situations of when these emotional stress situations have come, these anxiety situations have come, then only religion is functional. In other situations, religion may not be functional. So he says that it is only functional for the individual, and that is also in certain circumstances. So in this way you can criticize the Durkheim's theory of religion. Now we will also study the relevance of Durkheim's theory in contemporary times. So you never find this type of relevance in your any of the lectures. So this relevance you should understand, because ये आपसे पूछा जा सकता है in your exam. This relevance, it is very important as far as your exam point of view, because that is a contemporary trend which is being asked in your exam. क्योंकि यही आजकल they are asking these type of contemporary trends in your exam. So relevance is the contemporary society. So you should write. You can write the contemporary society provides some empirical support to Durkheim's conception of religion in modern societies, as reflected in the emergence of new religious movements, sects, cults, spiritual self-help groups, etc. So you can write that Durkheim says that religion, Durkheim ने बोला कि religion रहेगा modern society में. So वो आप कह सकते हैं कि it is still existing in the form of sects, cults and spiritual self-help groups, etc. The emergence of these religious groups have ensured the vitality of religion in modern society. Still, religion is existing. It is not totally extinct. It has not totally extinct or obsolescence. It is not totally obsolescent. Okay, so it is still existing in the form of the new religious movements. Plus, you can write Durkheim's theory of sacred is still found in contemporary examples, like one's relationship with their children. So Durkheim says that the sacred, the theory of sacred and profane. So the sacred, which actually drew the inspiration, the awe and wonder from the people, that is still existing in the form of, you can write, the one's relationship with their children, environmental sacrality of the nature, artists' love for their art, which they consider as sacred. So sacred and profane, which Durkheim categorizes the world, it is still existing in the contemporary world or the modern world. So you can write the categorization of sacred and profane is still existing, but new sacred realm has been existing. You can write. Okay. Plus you can also write that this sacred lies at the heart. This sacred also lies at the heart of all progressive movements. Just think of the triple talaq, Sabrimala movements, all of which sacralize the liberal ideas of human rights and moral equality, which Durkheim says that in the modern society, the secular morality is being existing, and all people strive to achieve this secular morality. So how the secular morality is being achieved? By this progressive movement, which are triple talaq and Sabrimala movement, because in the heart of these movements, the liberal ideas of human rights and moral equality is there. So what are the aim of these movements? To achieve the human rights and moral equality, which is said by Durkheim as the main aim of the modern society to be achieved. So he says that social progress is, so you can write, the social progress is impossible without a shared conception of the sacred. So all the people have this shared conception of the sacred, and of the sacred of the achieving the equality of human rights, the equality of human dignity, human justice, the liberal ideas of the equality. So you can also write the new sacred realm in modern society is still there, like sanskaras, baptism, temple worship, donation to temples by people, shraddh ceremony, rituals followed in birth, marriage, death. It is still there in the modern society, in the private sphere, you can say. So there is still sacred which is existing in the society. Plus, you can also write that in the modern society there are many social acts that convey powerful moral meanings to draw the collective effervescence of public audience towards them, just like in primitive society. So he says that just like in you should understand that just like in primitive society, the religious rites they actually drew the collective effervescence of people, because what people done, they used to undertook those religious rites and in the primitive society. Now in the modern society, instead of these these religious rites, there are many social acts which drew the collective effervescence of people. Okay, collective action of the people. So what actions are there? So however those actions are found in the stories. Now how those actions are found? In the stories that circulate through various forms of social and electronic media. So through these electronic media and social media, these actions are being understood and being performed. These actions are being found in the stories by the people. So ये कह रहा है कि people जो होते हैं वो religious rites के थ्रू अब moral meaning draw नहीं कर रहे हैं, है ना. पहले वो राइट्स, रिलीजियस राइट्स करते थे, रिलीजियस बिलीफ, रिलीजियस रिचुअल्स, रिलीजियस प्रैक्टिसेस करते थे, जिसके जो उनको मोरल मीनिंग इम्पार्ट करता था. बट अभी क्या है ना, ये जो सोशल एक्शंस हैं जो कि अपीयर होते हैं इन दी सोशल मीडिया, इनसे लोग मोरल वैल्यूज ड्राइव करते हैं. सो यू शुड अंडरस्टैंड दैट डिकोटोमी बिटवीन सैक्रेड एंड प्रोफेन थ्रू निर्भया रेप, जामिया क्लैशेस, मॉब लिंचिंग इंसिडेंट्स इन इंडिया. दीज इंसिडेंट्स दैट निर्भया रेप जब हुआ, आप समझ रहे हैं ना, लोग कितना इंटीग्रेट हुए और लोगों को समझ में आया कि दिस सच टाइप ऑफ हीनियस क्राइम, लोग इसके खिलाफ पीपल उन्होंने डेमोन्स्ट्रेशन किया, उसके खिलाफ लोग एकजुट हुए, वो इंटीग्रेट हुए और उन्होंने इसके खिलाफ एकजुट होकर प्रदर्शन किया, डेमोन्स्ट्रेट किया, उन्होंने इसके खिलाफ इसको कंडेम किया इन एक्ट्स को. तो इससे वो मोरल वैल्यूज ड्राइव किए कि ये हीनियस क्राइम शुड बी अबेंडेंड, इट शुड बी फॉरबिडन, इट शुड बी स्ट्रिक्टली फॉरबिडन, इट शुड बी स्ट्रिक्टली पनिश्ड इन सोसाइटी. So these incidents not only invite wide demonstrations in the society but also unite the society against the realm of those profane activities. Thus, this is the new sacred profane realm in modern society, which very well goes in sync with the theory of Durkheim that the distinction between sacred and profane drew the collective effervescence of people in society and in turn develops social cohesion, solidarity. So Durkheim ने बोला ना कि भाई डिस्टिंक्शन बिटवीन सैक्रेड एंड प्रोफेन होता है, तभी सोशल इंटीग्रेशन होता है और तभी मोरल वैल्यूज ड्राइव होते हैं इस डिस्टिंक्शन से. ना पहले क्या होता था ना, सैक्रेड एंड प्रोफेन. सैक्रेड होता था कि आप रिलीजियस बिलीव्स करते थे, प्रैक्टिसेस करते थे, तो लोग उससे उस वर्शिप से लोग मोरल वैल्यूज ड्राइव करते थे कि क्या करना और क्या नहीं करना. बट नाउ इंस्टेड ऑफ दीज रिलीजियस रिचुअल्स, ये जो नए एक्शंस लोगों ने किए हैं, ये जो नए सोशल एक्ट्स जो हमारे समाज में होते हैं, जैसे आप निर्भया रेप को कोट कर सकते हैं, आप मॉब लिंचिंग इंसिडेंट, तो लोग इन हीनियस क्राइम्स को हेट करते हैं. तो इनसे ये लोग मोरल वैल्यूज ड्राइव कर रहे हैं कि इन क्राइम्स को तो हमें फोरबिडन करना है सोसाइटी में, इन्हें खत्म करना है सोसाइटी में, और इन क्राइम्स को जितना कंडेम किया जाए उतना कम है. तो इनसे लोग अब मोरल वैल्यूज और मोरालिटी ड्राइव कर रहे हैं, विच इज कॉल्ड, यू कैन से, द सेकुलर मोरालिटी. सेकुलर मोरालिटी मतलब राइट्स, इक्वल राइट फॉर ऑल, फ्रीडम, डिग्निटी फॉर ऑल. सो ये अभी नए एक्शंस आ गए हैं विच हैव डिस्प्लेस्ड और विच हैव रिप्लेस्ड द रिलीजियस रिचुअल्स एंड प्रैक्टिसेस. सो these social actions like the rape, the mob lynching incidents, the clashes between the public and the police और between different people. So in social action से लोग moral value drive कर रहे हैं कि what is good and what is bad and what should be condemned and what should be followed. So you should understand that the categorization of sacred and profane in the categorization जिससे हम लोग derive कर रहे थे moral values, अभी भी उसी से कर रहे हैं. बट अभी एक्शंस बदल गए हैं. तो you can write that in this way the categorization of sacred and profane with Durkheim ने जो categorization किया था still relevant in modern society also. This is a very important point. You can write in your exam. Okay, so in this way we end this theory of religion. I hope that you like this topic. You should whatever points I have written in my lecture, you should write directly it in your exam and fetch good marks. So in the next lecture we will study the Parsons theory and Malinowski theory and Guy Svensson's theory of, and we will integrate all the theories in one lecture, because that is not because that we can cover in one lecture. Okay, thank you very much.